On the plus side, now there is not all gloom and doom in my life right now. I received a call a couple of weeks ago from the MS clinic, the multiple sclerosis clinic in Winnipeg, where my neurologist is, and they're doing a study on the CCSVI procedure that was developed over in Italy by a Dr. Zamboni. I'll get into it more in future videos, likely, but I'd put my name in for this study, and they're combining it with Saskatchewan. And there are 20 people from Manitoba that are going to get included in this study. Saskatchewan is doing the majority of it, and they're funding the majority of it, but they're combining all their resources and that. And I guess they had sent me a letter or an email a while back saying that they already had a lot of names, but those people had to be screened, and not all of them made it. So this call I got said that they were asking. Oh, sounds like somebody's. Oh, stop it, you guys. They're just likely trying to find the sewers. Where was I? Oh, yeah. They asked me, I guess they hadn't found the 20 they needed here, so I was selected in the next batch to be screened for this CCSVI procedure. Asked if I'd be interested in doing it. It's a research that's been going on worldwide, and what it involves is the veins in the neck. Dr. Zamboni said that in his own wife, the veins, there were blockages, so he went in and did angioplasty on the veins in her neck. Now, the veins carry the blood away from the brain. The arteries deliver it too. Well, arteries, when you get carotid artery and that, when those become blocked, they'll put in stents or that. They've done that with the veins, but the problem with that is if the stent comes loose, it goes down straight into the heart, and they've had a couple people killed by that. So they're not doing that kind of procedure here in the research. Stents is an absolute no-no. But they're doing angioplasty. And so I told them I would be interested, and I can step out of the study at any point. But the first thing is to go and sign their big 17-page waiver that kind of explains everything, so I know what's going to go on. And it's a 2-year program with a bunch of interviews and tests and stuff, and a day in the hospital here and there. And the final outcome is I will get this procedure done if I have blockage. Now, the first step is getting to determine the blockage, and they use a kind of a Doppler ultrasound of some sort. And I go in April on, I believe, the 14th, and it takes about an hour to do the ultrasounds. So if nothing else, I'll find out if I got the blockages. And now, this procedure is controversial in Canada because it's not approved. Nobody will do it up here unless they're involved in this research. And there are several people, many people that have gone and had it done in other countries. They'll do it in the States, even some places. They'll do it in Mexico, India, overseas, a lot of places overseas. And it's, You pay your own way there and back, and then it's anywhere $10,000 to $15,000 to get it done. And what the people are finding is after the procedure, people are claiming that their MS symptoms go away. It's not a cure. The idea is getting the blood flow going, so the blood that's not draining fast enough, apparently the iron deposits or something. Kind of gets complicated, and I'll see if I can get into it a little more in a future video, which I'll label them different so you guys don't have to watch it if you don't want to. But they're doing it's a blind test. So what they'll do is put me through a bunch of tests and MRIs and everything, and then after a while, everybody gets this procedure where they go in from somewhere in your leg and feed the catheter all the way up and then inflate the balloon and clear stuff. Now, out of the 20 people here, 10 of them will get the real procedure. 10 of them will get the procedure, with the exception they will not inflate the balloons. So you don't know if you got the procedure or not. And then they follow you for a year, and then everybody goes and gets the procedure a second time. The second time, the ones that did not get the procedure will then get it done. So everybody gets it done regardless. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'll talk more about it in a future video. But for a change, a little bit of good news came, because when you get into research, medical research, there's a lot of people that are against it. But having been sick all my life, I was diagnosed with asthma when I was 8 or 10 months old, and I was very sick as an infant and as a baby. My parents had to learn how to do a trach in case I stopped breathing when I was a baby. And then I was diagnosed with the MS when I was about 35. So somebody has to do these procedures, and I don't do things like this lightly. I've done drug studies for asthma drugs before, and with the exception of one, I've had good results. And now one of the things is, when they test a drug, one of the things they have to do is, after all the research is done and everything, it could take a couple more years to get through the Canadian government for approval for use in Canada. But if you're on the study and the drug is good, the drug company provides it to you for free until it's approved, and then the government pharmacare system takes over. So you get the newest stuff out, and you get a lot better health care for the time you're on the study, because they're watching you like a hawk. Now, the one time I did have trouble, I was about 19 or 20, and I was on an asthma medication, which the first day I was on it, I spent 8 hours at the hospital with EKGs and all that stuff, and then I was in every day for a week getting blood tests and an EKG for 1 or 2 hours a day for the first week, and then I was going to be followed up once a week for 8 weeks or something, and then. But within just a few days, they noticed something was wrong, and they pulled me off the drug right away. And long story short, in 28 days, I went from 5'11", 170 pounds, to, well, I didn't grow, I was still 5'11", but I went from 170 to 201 pounds in 28 days, and they don't know why, they don't know what caused it, they couldn't stop it. The drug was never put on the market. Because you sign the waivers, you can't sue, and in the States it might be different, but sometimes things don't work. One of the reasons you're there every day is in case something catastrophic happens, and they can try and save your life. Now, it screwed my metabolism up a little bit, and I've been heavy ever since, because I used to be a beanpole. 5'11", 170 pounds. It's probably the perfect weight. And when I got married and I was 25, almost 26, I was almost 250 pounds when Amber and I got married. And I gained weight a little bit here and there, and that's not from the drug getting up to 250 and then higher. That's just bad eating and that. And then when I left the garage, not being very active physically, I didn't change my eating habits enough when I went into the office to run the safety department. Spending a lot of time in the office, and just not good for me. So when I quit work, that'll be 8 years coming up that I had to stop work. Be 8 years to the end of June. When I quit work, I was 335 pounds. And about this time last year, I had gotten down to 290. Actually, it was my birthday last year. I hit just under 290, 289 point something based on our little talking scale. Because I did a brief happy birthday, being under 290 for the first time. But then, that might have been even almost 2 years ago now. Then when Mom got sick and in and out of hospital over the last 14 months, a lot of, despite what you do, it's hard to eat healthy when you're on the run constantly and, getting called in. And then we moved Mom, from her home. She was in a hospital, and then from there she went to a supportive housing, and then into a different room in supportive housing a few weeks later because it was a better room for her. And we moved her out of there in September. We had moved her just before we went to Florida. Moved her out of there in September. She went to the hospital for another month, and with Brenda being back home in Ottawa, Val and I did all the running. And Val working, I would go out during the day. And then when I was getting tired, we would alternate. I'd go one night, Val would go the other night. And that's when we knew Mom was deteriorating. Was from the first time in the hospital last year. So I wasn't eating well, and I got up to, and I vowed I would never be over 300 pounds again, and the weight crept up and up and up, and then one day I got on the scale and it was 301 pounds, and that didn't do much positive for me in the on the depression side, because with everything going on, I just I started medicating with junk food. I have to cut these out too. I cut back on quite a bit, and for a while I wasn't drinking any soft drinks at all. But then I struggled, and my weight kept hanging around 299, 300, 299. And then the last month with sitting with Mom, my appetite went. And I wasn't eating 3 meals a day because you're sitting, eating 2 and snacks. And I've been trying to eat healthier foods, staying away from the red meats and eating a lot of chicken, turkey. If I go to Subway, I get the healthier breads, and I'll have like a turkey sub with lots of vegetables on it. I guess the only negative thing was the fries that I would get. But the last month, my weight started to creep down again, and I'm not feeling hungry. I'm not starving. I'm not doing a starvation diet. It's just when you're sedentary, sitting and just sitting for hours and hours, with your loved one, you're not making up an appetite anyway. And I would, sleep a little bit, or as much as you can in a senior's place. Because the eating area is right outside Mom's door. So 3 times a day it's bang, clatter, and a bunch of deaf people making noises, and a couple of them actually talking. So these last couple days off, I've been, the snacking has been better and healthier, although having some garlic sausage for lunch, and I had a massage, and I'm just exhausted, tired, and didn't feel like making a sandwich either. And I'm trying to cut out breads anyway, so just having the meat part. And I've been managing to get my weight down to 294, so I'm on my way back on track, which is another good thing. And I'm going to do my damnedest. I'm not going to go up to 300 again. Just not going to happen. I can't do it. I have to lose weight and stay as healthy as I can, especially if I'm getting this procedure. And if it improves my life, then I can work out a little bit and walk, and I'm just looking forward to something good happening that can maybe reflect positively on my health. So I think I'm babbling now, because this one is 25, and I don't know how long the other 2 or 3 segments are that I'm going to be putting on the front of this, so this might be like a 2 or 3 part video by the time I'm done. So, without further ado, that's what I've been up to, that's where I've been, and there's still no plans to make any Grandpa's Garage videos in the near future. My whole focus is on Mom. And Anthony, I still owe you the golf ball. And just a reminder, if you can measure from the center of the grill to the center of the headlight, and measure from the front of the car to the back of the car. I'm working on the ball, but the dimensions just aren't looking right. So I printed another batch of pictures from the pictures you sent me, and I just want to, I marked them off with, like graph type thing to get the scale. So if you can get me those numbers, anytime now the weather's going to be nice, and when this whole thing with Mum is done, I'm not going to be up to walking around and doing stuff on cars, so if the weather ever gets warm, I plan on sitting out in the lawn chair and working off a couple of golf balls and yours is the one that's on the table right now. So sorry it's taken so long. I should have had this done months ago, but you know how it is. Family first. Sorry. So I've managed to babble for another 2 or 3 minutes. So I'm going to let you go. From a very tired Iceman in a very snowy Manitoba. A week into spring. Take it easy. Have a good one.